It's not the funding that's the problem. When I've thought about this question, and Helen and I have talked about it within Wonder, it's not that we don't believe that funding can't come. Right? If it's a program or a nonprofit that gives money to homeschool programs that promote biblical education, when the government gets involved in that funding and that's the source, they don't allow religious education. So a lot of these programs that are funded by the government, they don't allow you to talk about God. They don't allow you to meaningfully raise your children through these programs that, in fact, they will tell you can't talk about God. You can't talk about it. And for us as believers, when you think about it, why would we want to participate in something that says you cannot talk about your faith? You cannot talk about God.
Welcome. It's the Colorado Homeschool Podcast, interviewing experts, parents, graduates, all here to help you navigate this incredible journey called homeschooling. And if you're looking for resources, tips, and help, go to check.org. You'll find what you need. In the meantime, subscribe, follow along. Well, hello and welcome. Thanks so much for joining us today. I'm your host, Kashia Davis, and we have an unusual podcast for you today. This time, it's a compilation of 6 different interviews that we did live on the Rocky Mountain Homeschool Conference for June 11th through 14th in Denver. So we asked people who were in attendance to submit questions that we could ask. I think you're really going to enjoy them, but bear with us as the sound and the audio is going to be a little different, and the video is going to be a little different than normal, but we think it's well worth your time. So thanks for being here. Good morning. My name is Kashia Davis. I'm so excited that you guys are here. We're live from the Rocky Mountain Homeschool Conference, and I'm your host today. And we have a great guest. This is Corey Scott. He and his wife Helen have, you have your hands in quite a lot today. So thank you. Why don't you tell us before we get started quickly about the things that you're here representing for the Rocky Mountain Homeschool Conference, and then we have been collecting questions, so we're gonna ask him some questions that we had people submit for our live podcast. So what's a little bit about these 2 booths?
Yes, so the first one we have is Wonder. So my wife and I have had Wonder. We're entering into our 6th year this year, actually. So we've been doing a homeschool music arts and enrichment program for the last 5 years. And it's been wonderful. We have choir, we have band, we have orchestra, we have dance, we have theater. And these programs are intended to support the homeschool community. We do that 1 day a week. And last year we had almost 150 students. And so 60 to 70 families each year, which is wonderful. So just something we really love doing and enjoy. And also we have Four Fringes, which is the ministry we started about a year ago. And Four Fringes is intended to support homeschool groups and homeschool co-ops and homeschool programs and different academies. We want to make sure that they are supported as much as they can be and that they have the religious protection they need. So. Okay, nice. Well, this is perfect because the questions that I picked out for Corey to answer for us are right up your alley. We have many co-ops and communities for homeschoolers. My question is, many parents are loving the government-funded homeschool. How can we educate parents to stop allowing or participate in programs that are funded by the government? Yes. Any thoughts on that? This is something we get quite a bit. We were a privately funded program with Wonder, so for the last 5 years, we've not taken any government funding or any funding. Is it challenging? Yes, it can be challenging, but one thing that I've been thinking about is what and why did we start homeschooling? Because if you think about why you started homeschooling, for us as a family, we've been homeschooling almost 20 years now, and we've never taken any funding from any other source, and we've also not been a part of programs that have taken funding from other sources. And the reason why that's important to us is we homeschool because we don't want the government inside of us raising our children. And we think about that personally sometimes, but I think when it comes to some of the funding situations, we start to think outside of that. And we say, well, I'll take some government funding here, government funding there, or take the programs that have it. And I think we've got to get back to that. What is the source of why we wanted to homeschool? And where did God lead us? And is that really what he wanted us to do? And the other side of that is, it's not the funding that's the problem. When I've thought about this question, and Helen and I have talked about it within Wonder, it's not that we don't believe that funding can't come. Right? If it's a program or a nonprofit that gives money to homeschool programs that promote biblical education, when the government gets involved in that funding and that's the source, they don't allow religious education. So a lot of these programs that are funded by the government, they don't allow you to talk about God. They don't allow you to meaningfully raise your children through these programs that, in fact, they will tell you you can't talk about God. You can't talk about it. And for us as believers, when you think about it, why would we want to participate in something that says you cannot talk about your faith? You cannot talk about God. And so we've got to educate a lot of our, especially our newer homeschool families, to say, you know what the government funds, it runs. And with government shekels come government shackles at some point down the road. And if we think about that, we say it may look great now for the first couple of years or few years, but at some point restrictions are going to come. And we want to make sure that we educate families on that.
We haven't really, I guess we've dipped our toes in it, but like some of the states that have already introduced vouchers, we've seen that with the, what did you say? That's somebody's quote, right? With the shekels come the shackles. We've seen that. They're starting to introduce regulation immediately. So thank you for that answer. Okay, we have another question kind of similar. And this is, we homeschool on a single income. We're wondering why there's so much push against getting public funding, but obviously kind of similar, but where can we get money to offset that money? Do you have any thoughts on that? Because I understand that strap for income.
I do. And when you think about, as a homeschool dad myself, and for the last 20 years, we've been on one income for all of our home education. We have 7 kids, and you think, wow, this is going to get expensive. And I do understand that. But one, again, go back to why are you homeschooling? Did you really homeschool when you started to say, God, give me all the money I need to do all these programs and all this stuff? No, usually it's to slow down that pace and raise your children according to what you know God is leading. So sometimes that means your kids can't be a part of every program, and that's okay. Our kids haven't been a part of every program. You've got to be responsible in your home. If you can't afford it, it's outside the means, it's okay. But we're praying that God continues to open those doors for the income. It doesn't mean, oh, wife, you've got to go back to work. No, it doesn't mean that. It means, God, can you help me increase what I can do so that I can put more output into our family? Because those single incomes, I know as dads, I know it can be hard every time. It's, we need these books, we need this curriculum. Didn't we just buy that curriculum last year? But in addition to that, we need more homeschoolers. When you graduate your last child, you are now a homeschool alumni. Give back into the community.
You think about, say it again. Say it louder, Corey. Say it.
You think about booster clubs from universities. If these people who graduated from these colleges don't support the colleges they graduated from, most universities would crumble because they need the support. Home education is no different. When you graduate your child, you are now an alumni. How can you give back? Is that through some funding, a little bit here, a little bit there? Find programs that actually provide funding, scholarships and grants to families who need to offset some of those costs. We understand it. Single moms who are homeschooling. It would be great to have those costs offset. And that's something we're doing with Four Fringes, is creating an opportunity for us to help fund some of these organizations. So we need support. Programs need support. Look at who you're giving to, because if that source is Christian believers who are strong in their faith that are providing this, they're going to encourage biblical education, not discourage it. So that's something we need to do more, is look back as homeschool alumni.
Well, Corey, thanks for taking time out of the conference to do this. I hope this was encouraging to everybody. We're going to be talking to other vendors throughout this whole, so we're going to clip these together. And of course, we're going to link every person that we talk to. We'll link the groups that they represent. So thank you, Corey.
Thank you
very much. Have a good day.
Yes.
It's me, Kashia, and we're doing more of those live questions at the Rocky Mountain Homeschool Conference. I'm here with my friend Thaine Norris. Thaine, will you tell us who you are and what you do?
Yes, I am a new book publisher. We have a publishing company called Walking Together Press that was formed specifically as a vehicle for supplying new books freely to schools and communities in Africa.
Freely?
Yes.
Okay, amazing.
Yeah, so
Thaine, you're also a homeschool dad.
I am a homeschool dad. This is my first time back at the Czech conference for 20 years. I was here 20 years ago as a homeschool dad.
That's amazing.
With my kids here, drinking in all the workshops and the materials.
That's awesome. We're so happy to have you here today. So thank you. So I got a couple questions for you. And I think especially since you said you were supplying books to Africa, this one is going to be good. So I am the outreach director, and I do a lot of community engagement. And while we were doing one of our meetups for the groups, they said, how do you engage your children in different cultures when you don't live in a diverse culture?
Yes.
Do you have any suggestions?
I do. So I live in Estes Park, Colorado. I raised my kids 6 kids in Estes Park, and it is not a diverse culture.
No, it's not.
We know the
Diverse tourists, maybe, but
Yes.
not, residents.
We know the Black family. quite
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I would say that the answer to that is that we have always had a missional approach to our homeschooling and to our lives. And so we've taken our kids on different short-term missions.
Nice.
We were missionaries on the Mexican border for a short time. So these experiences combined together, just going out and being a minority in some other culture.
Oh my gosh, that's a great way to say it.
Yeah.
Go be a minority.
Yes.
That's a good idea.
And eat their food
Yep.
and learn to appreciate that people. Then when you come home, the kids are like especially attuned to people who don't look like them.
Yeah.
And it has been wonderful. Just my kids are now 30 down to 19.
Yeah.
And they have lived that out. It's been really
That's
great.
awesome. I love the way you phrase that. Go be a minority. And that really is true. My husband is Black. So in our whole world, we've really lived here. I mean, this is a rabbit trail, but he is always a minority and I rarely am. So, and we've had that conversation a lot. I've been on lots of mission trips, but it's sort of profound. That was a good tip, guys. Thank you. Okay, I have another question. Okay, how do you balance character in your academic training from a homeschool perspective? How do you do that?
Yeah. So, it's a good question. I'm the homeschool dad, so I'm the substitute teacher.
Okay.
My wife did the majority of the academics and the training, but I think as a principal, first of all, each kid is different in his academic aptitude, and it was important for us to realize that early on, so we're not shoehorning each kid into, you need to learn the classics and you need to learn calculus and achieve at this level. That sort of sorted itself out, but underlying all of that is the most important thing, which is character. And so I would say, how do you balance the two? Well, you stress character and be flexible on academics.
Yes. Oh, okay. And you get the character from, I was trying to tee you up. Come on, Thaine. What's the most important thing that builds the character that we got to implement?
Yes. Well, being exposed to other people that aren't like you is important.
Oh, yeah.
Having a daily diet of the scriptures.
Yeah.
Knowing the one, not just knowing the things, but knowing the one.
Yeah.
And then I would say, of course, being a publisher of so many great biographies from the past, reading good stories. And like, we had this interesting interaction in Nigeria where young people would come. I was sitting under a mango tree, and a random young person would walk up. He wouldn't even say hi. He'd just sit down and say, "Tell me how to walk more deeply with Jesus." I'm like,
this happened regularly?
yes.
Wow. That's cool.
Well, praise God,
Yeah.
what an opportunity. But how do you answer a question like that? Well,
Right.
Well, you begin to talk about Jesus, and you ultimately begin to talk about his teachings. Well, don't be anxious for what you're going to eat or what you're going to wear, and love your enemies and these things. And those are all pretty, but who's ever done that?
Right.
So the answer to that question is telling stories. Like in the Nigerian context with violence and whatnot, loving your enemies is a hard thing, but I can tell the story of Corey Ten Boom.
Yep.
And then I can tell stories of our own family, of trusting God for our provision. And then all of those stories add together to really put meat on these pretty sayings.
Well, it's testimonies of what God is doing in other people's lives through and for them, right?
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, I have to tell you guys, the check booth is directly across from where they are, and I've been over, I'm running around the whole time, but every time I come over and talk to Thaine, it's been a delight. So we're going to link the resources to Walking Together Press, so you can find them in the show notes. Thank you.
Hi guys, it's Kashia. We're still here at the Rocky Mountain Homeschool Conference, and we're answering questions that you guys submitted while you were here. So I'm so excited because I have a new friend, I think, Erin Lynum. Erin, will you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you represent?
Yeah, thank you. So I'm the host of the Nat Theo podcast. Nat Theo is short for natural theology. That's really what science came from. It was this pursuit of learning about God, our creator, through creation, coming from Romans 1:20. And so on the Nat Theo podcast, we are nature lessons rooted in the Bible, so that as our kids are learning about nature and science, they're at the same time learning theology, the study of God, and nurturing their faith as they follow their God-given curiosity.
That's awesome. I know that we have the right questions for you, Erin. So thank you for doing this with us. So I'm just going to ask a question that was submitted. Okay, we have, my kids are not a fan of textbooks, but I'm not very creative. What's an easy way to find hands-on learning? I mean, this is definitely for you.
Yeah, that is such a good question. I always encourage parents, start with your child's interest. God has tucked that curiosity inside of them. So whether it is rocks and geology, or maybe it's amphibians, we have our axolotls here at the booth with us this weekend.
I know, we should tour it. That's really what we should have done.
But if it's insects, if it's water creatures, follow that curiosity, because that's already a spark, something God's put within them. And then gather fun materials, whether it is fun books from the library with pictures, whether it's podcasts, documentaries. Better yet, if they love butterflies, go visit a butterfly garden. If they love amphibians, go to a reptile house.
Right.
Use what God's already put inside of them. Exactly. And really use that for those hands-on activities, and then see where their curiosity leads them.
So what do we do? That part of the not being creative and not feeling like I can come up with anything.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, maybe I'm teeing you up too good, because you have an answer for this, I know.
We do, yes. So click play on the Nat Theo podcast. It's free to listen on any podcast
What did you
platform.
call it?
Click play.
Click play.
Click play.
Okay.
So easy. You can also listen straight on our website, erinlynum.com. And we also have a full curriculum available with it, where you don't have to do anything. It's science, it is experiments, it's nature prompts, it is Bible study, everything you need to really just spark that interest that God put in your child, and help them to follow that curiosity and learn about their creator.
Okay, that's so fun. So I kind of group these by theme. So this one is not that far off. It says, what do you recommend for outdoor educational activities for our homeschooling? You already kind of answered some of that.
Yeah, but if you really want to get outside with your children, which I highly recommend, one thing I love doing is encouraging their skills of observation and seeing details, because in a way, that
Charlotte
also,
Mason.
it's from Charlotte Mason's method. It also teaches them that there is absolute truth, that there are details in creation, that it's not blurry, it's defined, and it's detailed. And so one thing I love doing with my kids is taking them to a natural area, whether it's a prairie, a field, down at the river, and I say, hey, go find something interesting, and then come back and tell me about it. And they need to describe it to you. Maybe, what is it doing? Is it singing? Is it swaying? Is it climbing? Is it just sitting there? Is it hard? Is it soft? What color is it? And you get to try and guess what it is. And then go with them to see that object.
You made a game out of it. That's cute.
It's a game, exactly. And then you can even, after you go see it, encourage them. Say, hey, you did a great job describing that. Maybe give them a few more words that they could use to build their vocabulary, and then it's your turn. You go find something that interests you and bring it back to them, because you're really training those skills of observation. If you want to take it a step further, get a guidebook from the library on wildflowers, birds, rocks, so that then, or you can use like an app like iNaturalist. Then you can actually find, what is that flower? What is that insect? What is that bird? And that's a reward to really learn the name of that thing.
Well, okay, this wasn't written down. This is just from you talking, like the personal. My kids are older. I have a 30 and a 28-year-old, so I haven't homeschooled in a long time, but this was my vibe. I love this. But it sounds like, and again, I'm teeing you up, I think, nature, and that is what God has given you and what he's led to you. But how much of that is your homeschool, like, day? Are you?
Yeah.
Is this a big part?
It really is. Yeah. So I came to a appreciation of nature later in life. And so it was really in my late 20s as I started seeing my kids outside experiencing their creator. I wanted to learn more about all these materials that God has given us. And so now, as much as we can, we incorporate this into our homeschool, whether we're inside listening to Nat Theo and going through the resources, and then we go outside and see these things for ourselves. And so this is a lot of our day right now in the booth.
It's the passion right now. It's your passion. I love it.
Sharing it with them. So we're always, we always have caterpillars coming in and turning into butterflies.
Oh my
We've got
gosh.
creatures in our house and plants. And as much as we can, we want to be surrounded by God's creation inside and outside to always be spurring on those faith conversations.
I'm telling you. Okay. Thank you so much, Erin, for taking the
Thank
time.
you.
But I wish you were here so you can go explore. Her booth is adorable, and I kind of feel like I need to go explore this right now. So thank you.
Thank you.
Hi guys, it's Kashia again, and we're still here at the Rocky Mountain Homeschool Conference. Only now we're at the Czech booth, and I get to introduce you to my friend that I get to work with, and you never get to see. This is Ted Jones, our marketing director. Hi,
Howdy.
Ted.
Hello.
Hey, Ted, tell us your homeschool story. Tell us about your family.
Homeschool story family. I've been married actually in 2 weeks. We married 25 years with my wife Erin and I.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, right. My wife Erin and I, we knew we wanted to homeschool from the beginning. My oldest is now 22. My youngest is 9.
And how many kids do you have?
So I have a total of 7 kids. So my
7, the number of completion?
Amen. We had not that we refuse anymore, it's that, but yes. So my 2 oldest are boys. My 5 younger are girls. So yeah. So.
Nice. I got to see Ted's family. They stayed a couple days before the conference, and I got to hang out with his family. They're absolutely delightful. So well
Thank
done,
you.
Daddy.
Good
All
mom.
right.
Good mom.
So we're asking questions that were submitted for the live podcast, and we're going to ask Ted a couple questions too. So Ted, this is hard.
All right.
Tell me why it's worth it.
Why is it worth it?
Yes.
Homeschooling is so worth it, not necessarily for the education, I think our kids will get a great education, but really it's the relationships between sibling and
that's so
sibling, and relationship between parent and child. I grew up in the public school system, not a Christian home, and I didn't know my brothers. I had 3 older brothers. Didn't know really, I knew my mom, but
Yeah.
didn't really know her. It was just somebody else at home, it was mom, but not a close relationship that I see my kids have with my wife, and the close relationship my kids have with me.
Yeah.
And then them.
I love that answer.
Yeah, siblings, they really are best friends, and it's because the time they spend, not necessarily just always hanging out with a peer group, but they're hanging out with their family.
Nice. That's a good answer. Nobody answered that, which I think is probably one of the number one reasons. That's good. Okay. Ted, can you give us your favorite homeschool memory?
Favorite homeschool memory. Since I'm not the primary one doing the teaching, my favorite homeschool memory, because we can homeschool, I would say is volunteering, is being able to go and serve. For a number of years prior to working with Czech, and which they're all volunteering now, prior to working with Czech, we were over at a homeschool camp, it was a Christian camp, and we were able to run a family homeschool camp.
That's really cool.
Since we were homeschooling, we could plan it. We knew what it was like, and we were able to do basically a mini convention at a camp for families that would come for 3 or 4 nights.
Wow, that's really cool. Doing it together. And they're serving together now, all in different little areas. It's awesome.
Yeah,
you
it's
brought
fun.
your own team. That's good.
Yep.
Okay, final question. This isn't from the audience, but I want to ask you, if there's one... Wait, I can't even read my own writing, guys. One thing that you wouldn't be able to do, yes. What is one thing that you wouldn't be able to do if you weren't homeschooling? Because you homeschool, you can do it. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I would tie it really back to the last answer, is being able to volunteer, is being able to have that flexibility and time. Very much like a work from home job. There's a ton of flexibility in there, and I think when homeschooling there's a ton of flexibility. So we don't have this rigid schedule. We get a lot done with homeschooling, but we're able to have a lot of free time or extra time to be able to serve others.
Yes.
So being able to volunteer at conventions like this, or at home, or at church.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Ted. We are at the Czech booth. There's about 20 minutes remaining in the conference, at least of the exhibitor hall portion. We're about to tear it down. We've got some friends here. I'm trying to get them to come say hi. But we want to say thank you for joining us and being here for the live homeschool podcast. Come say hi, guys. Welcome back. This is Kashia at the Rocky Mountain Homeschool Conference. We are doing live podcasts here with questions that people submitted here at the conference. And I have with me Andrea Black. Andrea, would you introduce yourselves and tell everybody who you represent? And
absolutely be happy to. My name is Andrea Black. I'm the wife of Chuck Black, the writer of the Kingdom series. That's probably what he's best known for. He does have 4 series now. But we love coming to the Colorado Conference, so it's a delight to be here and a treat to be asked to be on your podcast. So thank you very much for asking.
I'm so excited. And how many children did you raise and homeschool?
We have 6 children, 3 girls and 3 boys, homeschooled from kindergarten through high school. All went to college. That was their choice. All are now married, and we are grandparents to 14 beautiful grandchildren with more to come, hopefully.
So fun. Okay, so I went through the questions and I picked, this one is perfect for you. I have a couple questions that I think you're going to be great at. So I'm going to read the question, and then Andrea, you can answer it. When a family tries homeschooling for the first time, what's the most common myth about homeschooling that they see busted?
Well, we homeschooled back in the day when it was absolutely not the cool thing to do, and everyone was really worried about the social life of my children. They were quite concerned that I was going to raise social misfits. I did remind them that the jails were full of social misfits who had not been homeschooled, but anyway, that was maybe not the answer you want to give. So originally I would just wear myself out explaining to them they don't need to worry because they're in Awana and they're in Sunday school and they're in this and they're in that, and the people weren't necessarily still satisfied with my answer.
Right.
So I realized it was foolish for me to be exhausting myself trying to answer their question. So what I began to say was, can you define that term for me? And when I did that, I didn't have a single person have the ability to define that term.
Oh my gosh,
and
that's a great question. That's a good answer.
I would wait, and then I would say, well, it's obvious that I can't answer that to your satisfaction since you yourself aren't certain what it is that I'm supposed to say in response.
She's like, wow.
So when you have a definition, you can ask me and I'll tell you if I did it. And nobody ever came back a second time. So I don't think we need to wear ourselves out satisfying them about the socialization of our children that they will never stand before God and be responsible for, that you yourself alone will be responsible for.
Oh my goodness. Memorize that answer, people. Memorize it. That was good.
It works.
That's good. Okay, well, I have another question for you. That was really good.
I'm glad.
Okay, I get asked this a lot. How do I make sure that I am doing enough? Especially by new to homeschooling moms. I hear this a lot too.
Yes. Well, we all start out thinking we have to have them seated in a desk with where I'm from in North Dakota, it's 4 hours of even in kindergarten teaching.
Oh.
And it didn't take me long to realize you can be done with kindergarten if you stretch it out in about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And so I learned quickly that, as Mr. Rogers says, their job at that early age is to play. So play counts for school.
Yes.
And so you just get creative in how you play. And that isn't really difficult since they probably entertain themselves pretty well as well. And especially if you have multiple children, they're very good at playing. So I just like to remember that littles, their job is to play, and ask yourself, what is enough anyway? Is it enough that they love Jesus? Is it enough that they love their family?
That's good. Mm-hmm.
Is it enough that they have a family togetherness? I always said the best thing for homeschooling for us was family unity. And it wasn't about the academics. Although the academics certainly were important, it was about the family unity. And so that became our goal. Ask yourself, what is my goal? What is my goal for this child? As they grow, ask them, what is your goal? Do you want to be something that needs extra training? Let's help you tailor your education toward that. Mm-hmm. And that is enough. And that's the beauty of homeschooling, is you get to see the gifts that God has placed in your individual child, and ours are vastly different from one another. And then you tailor their education toward who God created that person to be.
Amen.
Individualize. And so is that enough? That's enough. And remember to love God with all your heart, your mind, and your soul, and to love your neighbor as yourself. that is enough.
Andrea, thank you for chatting with us. That was fantastic.
My
I am
pleasure.
going to link how you can find them. So in the show notes, make sure you check it out because all the people that we talked to today, they're going to be linked so you can find them because obviously she's got some wisdom. Thank you.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Hi guys, it's Kashia again. We're answering questions at the Rocky Mountain Homeschool Conference, and I have a couple friends here, or new friends. I'm just meeting them. This is Juli, and this is Rebecca. I'm going to let them introduce themselves. Juli, tell us who you are and what you do.
Hi, my name is Juli, and I have 4 children, one of whom is a recent college grad, so we're pretty excited about that. My youngest is in the 8th grade, so we have some battle scars, and we're not finished, but we're on our way.
Okay, it seems like you are the wisdom that a lot of the young homeschool moms need is somebody who's like a little bit ahead of them. You're there.
That's kind. Definitely the years, but maybe the wisdom. That's debatable.
Well, we're excited you're answering questions for us. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Rebecca.
So my name is Rebecca. I am a homeschool mom. I have a 20-year-old and a 12-year-old. My kiddo is in college doing great.
Nice. Okay, so we have a couple questions here. We asked people to submit them. As you know, sorry, you guys have heard the drill now. Let's start with you, Juli. Tips and tricks on how to balance doing school and housework while keeping your home functioning.
Tips and tricks.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I think the most important thing, one of the most important things is to avoid mom guilt. Don't be deceived by that because that's something that is a trap that's easy to fall into, especially when the kids are younger and you feel like you have to do it all. I want to do it all. I want to have a clean house. I want to invite
Pinterest house.
I want to invite people over. I want to have a great birthday party. I want to minister at church. I want to do everything and teach my kids to read and discipline them.
You're ministering to me right now.
Yeah.
Because I'm not young anymore.
That is a lot. That's a lot. And so I think it's important to remember that the work that you do for your family and for your kids, even if it's not perfect, even if it's minimal, is a blessing. And it's a gift to be with those people and to serve the people that you love and to remember that it doesn't last forever.
Amen.
And that you really are very blessed and to try to find things to be thankful for alongside the work. And then when you go to bed,
on the floor or
be okay with
laundry.
it. Be okay with it. And when you fall into bed at the end of the day, just be grateful and ready to get up and go back and do battle again because it's a real blessing and it doesn't last forever. I know.
My kids are adults, and I always say I didn't say it. I don't know who said it, but the days are long, but the years are short.
Yeah, it's so true.
Yeah,
true words.
Yeah, we've heard it. It's so true. Okay, so let's go to our next question, and this one is perfect. This is actually they're representing Bridging the Gaps Dyslexia, so this is a perfect question for you. Tips and strategies. Oh no, this is not the question. I don't know where it went. Well, I'll tell you because I remember it. I'm going to paraphrase. I'm sorry for whoever wrote it. How would you handle it when your child is falling behind in reading and you're just trying everything and beating your head against the wall?
Okay, my first piece of advice is to listen to your mama gut. It's your best tool. God gave it to you for a reason. If you feel like there's something wrong, it is definitely worth exploring that. Especially if you're dealing with reading disabilities or reading disabilities that probably can run in families. I would look at some online resources, signs and symptoms of dyslexia, and then try to get help.
And there is help, right?
There is help.
I mean, that's what you guys do. I can't tell you.
Yes.
So I have been in a couple of other little sessions all over the conference, and I've heard this organization be referenced more than once.
Yes.
In fact, our keynote today did. So there's help. You can do it.
We are out there. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. There is help.
Awesome.
And don't feel alone.
Thank you. Awesome. Thanks for talking to us. I'm going to post resources again so you can find them in the show notes.
Thank you so much for joining us today. The Colorado Homeschool Podcast is a ministry of Christian home educators of Colorado. We have been motivating parents to disciple the next generation by embracing home discipleship that is Christ-centered, parent-directed, and free from government control. We invite you to join us in this mission. If you want to support homeschooling in Colorado, go to check.org/donate. In the meantime, share this with your friends and make sure you subscribe. That really helps us. Thank you.
Brought to you by thepodcastupload.com, empowering faith-driven voices.